Hi, North Park. I am Dennis Ensing, Chair of the Church's Board, providing you with an update on 2021 on behalf of the elders. I thought just a little context on the role of the board might be a good way to kick off. North Park's elders are the spiritual leaders in our church community, but we have the added responsibility of overseeing the proper functioning of the affairs of the not-for-profit corporation itself. In so doing, we hold both its spiritual and fiduciary stewardship. Let me draw here from our Elders Handbook that summarizes this dual role. It must always be remembered that the church is primarily and thoroughly a ministry. That is, the who, what, where, when, and why it exists. The corporation as a business is the important and necessary how it exists. In healthy churches, ministry supersedes the corporate functions in every way, in order that the business side never becomes the why. Therefore, we, the elders, are to be ministers first and administrators second. I hope that brief snapshot provides you, at a very high level at least, the nature of the elders' role and work here at the church. The first two of my highlights represent the work of North Park's vision in our lives. As a reminder, this vision is: we believe God desires that all people experience the love and grace of Jesus, and with this invites His people to participate creatively with Him in His work of transformation. In 2021, some very relevant and challenging sermon series from our pastoral team, including Unchristian, The Isms, Staycation, and Love Your Neighbor, were very impactful in this regard. However, so was being able to come together in person again in the fall, our 3 weekend services and other in-person events. Such a sweet experience to gather again. My third highlight was seeing your faithfulness in giving, which you will see in our annual report presented at the AGM. Now, for 2022, we are anticipating what God has in mind as we prayerfully invest these resources for His kingdom work. As to challenges in 2021, our leadership transitions, both Matthew Eckert and Stephen Shane, would be the biggest that we faced as a board of elders. Thank you to the many of you who reached out with questions and for personal conversations with me, and more importantly, also the prayerful support that covered us during these times. As I mentioned already, I reflected on the sermon series from last year. In these, I could see clearly that God was speaking to us and challenging us as a church during the transitions that we experienced. For example, in September, we were asked the question, now what? This question was in the context of moving beyond the normal we knew. But now with hindsight, I realized that we needed to be exhorted to trust that He will lead us every step of the way as we step over the line into a new normal that God has in mind for us. For the elders, the alternative of defaulting back to the safety, the old normal, to what's comfortable, and never take a risk or trust God for the life of North Park and for you, its community, was not an option. The first thing that came to mind here was seeing leadership step up. Our search committee, the elders, Paul and Wanda, and the whole pastoral team under continued challenging circumstances. As I mentioned when I made the announcement of Steve's transition, while we had all hoped for a different outcome, we are very grateful to have such a passionate team and solid leadership in place to move us forward. We have been richly blessed by each of them and the sacrifices they and their families have made. In closing, thank you for your continued support of and commitment to your North Park community. If you have any questions or feedback, I welcome you to reach out to me at elders@northpark.ca. Thank you.